Let's talk about Virginia Guffrey. There's now a note. A note has been released. So to recap, Luke and I talked about this on Monday because Virginia Guffrey allegedly left this planet over the weekend. We talked about, look, all possibilities on the table. However, she had been dealing with mental issues, all this kind of stuff. She had been dealing with separation, child custody agreement, all that stuff. So, by the way, no shade to Crowder. There's no beef there. Just so Chat likes to grab onto that stuff. No beef. I'm just saying, maybe some of his tweets are real, but most of these people don't run their own Twitter accounts.
Yeah. I highly doubt he's messaging everyone saying, hey, share that.
Hey, retweet this. Yeah, right. He's not doing that.
Yeah, I highly doubt that.
Yeah. So she shared this. It said, "We are not going away." I assume this says, "Mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers need to show the battle lines are drawn and stand together to fight for the future victims." What is it? Protesting the answer. I don't know what that means. I don't know, but we have to start somewhere. I don't know if this says, is protesting the answer? Oh, is protesting the answer? I don't know, but we have to get started somewhere. I'm assuming there's more to this letter that they're not sharing with us.
So I just did a video about this, and I just released it now. It looks like this is the letter, and this is the reporting that's associated with it. A message that she wrote to the organizers of a Washington rally for assault survivors that was being held in Lafayette Park, opposite of the White House, ahead of the April 30th protest and demonstration there. So it looks like this isn't her last note to the world. It looks like this is her note to the
it's not even
and the organizers of this protest that is happening today in Lafayette Park outside of the White House for assault victims.
Well, that's kind of crummy. It's not even, but it says, I thought it says,
this is what TMZ is reporting.
Handwritten note they left behind after her death.
Family reveals words from journal after she took her life.
Okay. So people are calling it a note, like a death note, but it's not. Yeah. It's just not
it's an older note that's just being resurfaced that the family is sharing. But very interesting. I just shared another article with you from also TMZ that spoke to Virginia's father. And Virginia's father, who's in Florida, doesn't buy the official version of events, and he says he wants this event to be investigated.
Well,
so he's calling on authorities to dig into what actually happened here. As of course, there's a lot of weird things that led up to this, and sure, a lot of the signs point to mental, instability, points to a very messy kind of separation with children being involved here. It points to a lot of kind of mental instability. But we also entertained last time we talked the possibility of a conspiracy unfolding here, which is a little bit of a stretch. But I think, it's not out of the bounds to investigate this, since there's so much foul play. There's so many sinister bad players involved in all of this that really did commit heinous crimes and really are involved in some absolutely incredulous, horrible, destructive, nasty behavior involving children. And they're capable of doing anything. Okay. And this is the U.S. intel agencies that are all involved here. There was also, DC Drano actually was a part of the White House special press conference that they're now doing with MAGA influencers. And he actually asked, hey, are we going to get arrests here? Are we going to get the documents?
Yeah.
And the White House spokesperson came out and said, she's a bulldog. She's a fighter. She's going to get to it. Timeline, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last time. I do think it's not super tinfoil to say, hey, if they were, what Luke had hypothesized, at least as one possibility, is hey, this is the most famous person that could corroborate stuff coming out in these files. And so maybe that was some reason to get rid of her. And I buy that. I mean, we can't say it's 100% certain, but I buy that. At least as a, there's at least a percentage chance that is possible. Now, the dad coming out and saying, I don't believe it. I mean, people live in denial too. I've had a few people in my life choose to take their own life, and it was never really anything that made any sense to me. I couldn't, there were no signs. There was, nothing. And they just, one friend of mine when I was in 5th grade hung himself. Like, who hangs himself? That's pretty macabre for an elementary school person,
Yeah.
But I remember thinking oh, well, nobody knows. Nobody. So who knows how close her dad was with her to really be commenting on whether or not he believes it's true. But I think it's normal for a parent to be like, I don't believe it. I think that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a lot of grief and trauma, and it has a weird way of affecting people. But out of the due diligence here, we need an investigation.
Yeah.
Probably not likely, but I wanted an investigation. I wanted the FBI, and I should have done more about this, but I want the FBI to literally, I wanted them to go there as soon as there was this car accident, right?
Yeah. You did say that. Yeah.
I'm like, go there, get her account, help her, bring her here. And this is what kind of disappoints me, because if there were secret grand jury indictments, if the Epstein list was being prosecuted, they would have been bringing in Virginia Roberts to come on in to Washington, D.C. to testify against a lot of these people, right?
Yeah, I would say.
And they're not. So now she's gone. And now it raises kind of more questions there probably aren't going to be arrests here. And
well, you're going to need another whistleblower, and that's not a guaranteed, that's not guaranteed. There were a few others, but she's obviously the most prominent. Also, she was linked to the perhaps most prominent alleged client in Prince Edward.
Well, she was flying with Chris Tucker, with Kevin Spacey, with Bill Gates over to Africa, right?
Right. Yes.
They were having the flight over to frickin' Africa to do their quote charity work.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So
imagine being on that flight. Look how fast Chris Tucker fell out of the entertainment industry. You don't see him around here anymore.
That was it. He was out.
He probably saw some stuff that was like, this is insane. I'm out.
He also coincidentally
hang out with Jackie Chan a little bit more here.
He also found God too.
Yeah.
So there, causation is not correlation, or correlation is not causation, but he's a guy that I think has found God in the recent history. So perhaps that was related.
He had information on Clinton. All right.
Yep.
So there's a reason things like the Clinton body count are being discussed here in such a way. So investigate this. I want the FBI involved here. I want the FBI talking to victims now. There should be, secret grand jury indictments. I mean, they know who Ghislaine Maxwell bought the clients, brought the children to. So the New York City FBI office, the SDNY office knows, and they obfuscated and they hid it from the court proceedings. Yeah, she just sold this product to absolutely no one. No, they know who.
Of course they do.
Those people should be investigated right now, and those people should be looked into, and those people are probably still predators out there hurting children.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there is a lot of weirdness around her story, though, that she was losing custody of her kids. For a woman to lose custody of her kids, she's got to have serious mental health or addiction issues.
Yeah, and then when you're talking about victims of abuse,
this crime,
that usually does happen.
Yeah, right. I think it's entirely possible that her losing her kids pushed her over the edge. In a combination with all of this stuff, going on in her life. I don't support people taking their own lives. I think it's the coward's way out, and I don't really care what happened to you leading up to that point. If you've had a terrible life where you have chronic pain, I understand why people do it, but I still feel like, man, even in pain, you only have one life to live, and it's kind of selfish to do that.
Especially if you have children.
Yeah, if you have kids or family or whatever, like, I think it's selfish. There's, someone who's like got terminal cancer, fine. Maybe. This case, I'm not going to say, oh, it was so sad, but I will say clearly, there's something.
Yeah.
I made it publicly known that nowhere, shape, or form am I having these thoughts. I have made this known to my therapist, GP, if something happens to me. It's almost like she was setting it up, and she wanted there to be a conspiracy around her death so that maybe there would be an investigation. Maybe there would be this kind of stuff, like she looked at John McAfee and was like, there are a lot of people that believe John McAfee's still alive now because he went out of his way to say that he wasn't, feeling these thoughts. So I don't know.